Have you ever watched a movie and thought, yeah, I get why they did that, even if the main character was clearly wrong? Or maybe you saw a heartbreaking story on the news and immediately felt like you knew who was right or wrong, even without knowing the full details? Or think about this, ever ignored a boring report with statistics but felt moved to tears by one powerful story? If yes, what you felt is called narrative bias. Narrative bias is when we believe a story more than we believe the facts. It's not because we are dumb, it's because our brains love stories. Since ancient times, we have used stories to explain the world. They are emotional, they are easy to remember, and they stick in our mind pretty easily. But here's the catch, sometimes stories can trick us. A good story doesn't always mean it's a true one. And when we fall for it, we can make really bad choices. Now let me show you what I mean with some real life stuff. This is happening in a court. Imagine someone is on trial. There might not be much proof, but if the lawyer tells a clear emotional story about what happened, the jury might believe it, even if it's not true. And maybe you hear one sad story about someone getting sick after a vaccine. Suddenly that one story feels more real than all the research saying that vaccines save lives. And also a politician sharing one relatable story about a family struggling. The story might be really heartwarming, but it doesn't always show the full picture. But still people listen because stories feel true. So why do you think we fall for stories more than facts? It seems it's how we are wired. Stories make sense to us. They have people, problems and endings in them. Our brains light up when we hear them. Facts, numbers and reports, they are way too hard to remember. They don't stick in our heads the same way. And let's be honest, most of us don't like to dig into boring data, right? If a story feels right, we just go with it. That's narrative bias at work. This bias shows up big time in the news and on social media. Let's say a news channel wants to talk about job loss. They could show graphs, trends and reasons. But instead they show one person who lost their job and is now homeless. That one story grabs your heart way more than numbers ever will. Same with ads as well. Companies don't sell you products by saying that so and so product will work great. For example, a tech company might not show the ad like this, that this computer has a great processor. They show a happy, confident person using it. They're telling you a story and hoping you will buy into it. Now, don't get me wrong, stories can actually do a lot of good. They build empathy, they help us understand each other. Some of the biggest changes in history started with personal stories. But the problem comes when we forget to check the facts. When we let one emotional story drown out the truth, that's when things go wrong. Think of it like this, stories are like seasoning, they add flavor but you still need real food. So what can you do about this? Here are a few suggestions that I have. Don't stop with the story. Ask, is this really the whole context? And check the facts. Does the story match with what the data is actually saying? And notice your feelings. If something makes you feel really emotional, pause in that moment. And also ask the question, who's telling the story and why is the story being told to me? You don't have to ignore stories, just don't let them be the only thing you believe. Look, stories are pretty powerful. They help us connect, they help us care. But just because a story feels true doesn't mean it is actually true. So the next time you hear a moving and heartwarming story online, in the news or from a friend, just take a moment and ask yourself, what is the whole context? So what do you guys think about narrative bias? Have you guys experienced this bias in your lives anytime? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel and I will see you guys in the next one.